Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today, I want to open the show with a conversation with Nigeria's leading transparent general, retired General Ishola Williams. General, you're welcome back to Inside Sources.
Always good to see you.
Thank you. I want to start with what happened on Thursday when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu decorated the new service chiefs. He said something that I find quite commendable. He told the service chiefs that Nigerians no longer will accept excuses in terms of ending the banditry, in terms of ending the insurgency. What do you see to that? What's your comment on that?
I think he should have just finished with the decoration and then call a meeting of all the security agencies. Because when the new Chief of Defense Staff went before the National Assembly Committee that confirmed his appointment, he said one thing very, very important, and that is the military had been burning his time, energy, and burning money in doing what police should be doing. He said so. What does that mean? It means that there's a need for every agency, including the military, to stick to its mandate of public safety and security of the country. Our main problem is public safety. And we have refused to take the political decision from the president himself, actually his own predecessors, right from the time of Obasanjo in 1999. And what is it? They believe so much that the army could solve the safety and security problems of the country. Big mistake. And they've wasted a lot of money, wasted a lot of time, and wasted lives. We created, or it was established, the mobile police. The mobile police was established as a paramilitary force. And as a paramilitary force, it was supposed to be responsible for intelligence, counterintelligence, deterrence, and compelling bandits, criminals, kidnappers not to do their job. But today, who is doing that? Everything is confused. The military is running after kidnappers. Police is running after kidnappers. You don't know the difference between mobile police now and the ordinary policing. And now the president himself said, I am convinced that we need state police. Therefore, we need to separate policing, activities and action from activities and actions that requires paramilitary force. And what I do is very clear to anybody. Banditry, kidnapping, criminality, all this violence going on in the mines, in the forest, and so on. Once you separate that, you then hand over policing to the state. And then you separate the paramilitary police from that. It will be the paramilitary police force at the federal level. They will have squadrons at each state level. Okay. But the policing is done at the state and local government level.
But the problem...
If that's what the new Chief of Defense Staff is talking about, that makes sense. The second thing is that making a speech is not a directive. The president has to make a strategic directive in writing with his signature to each of the service chief or to the chief of defense staff
That
as from now on, focus on insurgency. IGP, focus on banditry, criminalities, and so on. But then, even if you write that strategic directive, he needs to reorganize the whole security agencies structure in Nigeria.
how?
Very simple, sir. The armed forces is there, insurgency. Paramilitary police, working with the new forest agency that they've just created, with the whole commandant general and all stars and everything on the shoulders, working with the mining marshals that Minister Laketu created out of the civil defense, working together, they will look after all these violent crimes that are going on. Mines, forests, everywhere. They look at it. But then, they need very strong intelligence system with DSS. Very strong intelligence system with DSS. Because DSS, too, is supposed to focus on domestic intelligence. Okay? And not only that, also to focus on counterintelligence. An example, some Amatekun operatives were caught in the Southwest. What are they doing? They confessed that they were collecting 150,000 naira every month from the bandits. What does that mean? They know the bandits. And in most cases in Nigeria, if you look at when events happen, and the government says, you must arrest those people, within some few days, they catch the people. How come? If they don't know each other. These are the organizations we are talking about. That is the directive that the president must give to the ministers of defense and ministers of internal affairs. See how long it's taking us to argue about state policing. And the president himself came and said, I am convinced that we need state police. But there, people are still blocking him. People are still blocking him.
Who are the people blocking the president?
If people want to do a coup, what are they complaining about? The governance now. And the point is this, is that, to me, there's nothing extraordinary about people wanting to do a coup in Africa with African military. Because as I keep saying, and everybody knows that, the military is the only opposition party in Nigeria and in Africa.
But you don't support military coup, because I think that whatever it is, we have to deculture ourselves from this idea of embracing soldiers who are trained to war and to kill. We have to, refuse to embrace them coming to governance. That's my own view, General.
Yeah, living in the past. Because the point is this, is that where they have been trained by the Europeans and the colonialists and things like that, the culture of followership, enlightened followership is different. The British Army officer will never think of organizing the coup. And if you look at countries who have maintained that stock culture, like Senegal, for example, Senegalese officers, even when they were having problems with the last president, wanted to impose himself, they were still obeying that president. But behind the scene, they were telling him it can get to a stage in which, look at the case of Madagascar, the military put the man there, Rajoelina. They overthrew him. They had to join the people in the street. We don't know what's going to happen in Cameroon. We don't know what's going. In Tanzania, the army is part and parcel of the political party, right from the time of Nyerere. They are members of CCM.
Because they one-party state.
Yes. It was one-party state and led to one-party state. So it's difficult for them to move from one-party state now to that. Opposite, Nigeria is moving towards a one-party state. Every day, you see a governor declaring for one party, you see members of the State of Assembly for one party. So you have a situation which you have in some of the states, in which all members of the State Assembly belong to one party. What sort of system is that? Okay? And then the system in Nigeria is different for you to impeach anybody, whether governor or president. In South Africa, it's so easy. It's a vote in the national parliament. And what they do, just like a parliamentary system, you're off. You're off. Okay? So every coup you see in Africa is against governance. So if people go on the street, the military is defending Paul Biya in Cameroon. Okay, because looking after the military very well. But is the military really doing the protection of the people that the military was created for? The second mistake we also make is this, is that the military was not created for internal security
Yeah, you made
and
that
public
point.
safety.
You made the
But
point.
more and more, they are getting involved in internal security and public
The
safety.
problem is that in Nigeria, we have a serious crisis that is threatening even our territorial integrity, and people are coming inside. Some of those terrorists, some of those insurgents are also involved in banditry. So we have to engage the military.
No, you don't need to engage the military. This is what I'm trying to point out to you, because you have a paramilitary force.
Okay.
You have a paramilitary force that you are not using. You are using the paramilitary force as a police force. But to have a paramilitary force, you have refused to separate them to do their paramilitary work. That is the problem.
I see your point.
That's why one is coming for the organization.
So possibly we need to spend more resources on our mobile police.
Correct. Your mobile police is what you need to train. Do you know that the mobile police have special forces like the one of the army?
Do they still have them? Because
They say, I saw one at the stadium on Saturday. Special forces written at his back. Mobile police.
Okay.
Civil defense. Do you know that they have special forces? Immigration. Do you know that they have special forces? Some of them have been trained abroad.
So
And they've been trained here.
okay.
So don't tell me.
All right. Okay, General. One last question. The Americans have been making a big noise about Christian genocide in Nigeria. Senators, congressmen, journalists, faith groups, they have been shouting that, the American government should make some punitive action regarding Nigeria because they are killing Christians. My view is that they are killing Christians and they are killing Muslims, and that we should just try and stop this killing. What's your own take about what the Americans are doing?
My own view too is like yours, that it's both the Muslims and the Christians that are suffering. Not only being killed, that are suffering. Okay. And it's a case of Muslims killing Muslims and some Muslims killing
Christian.
Okay. Therefore, if our intelligence system is working, they should be able to provide empirical figures to the Americans and say, see the number of Muslims killed, see the number of Christians killed. Sometimes you have read in which some go into churches and kill people in the churches. But they do that in other states. Some people do that too in other states. They go into synagogue, they go into churches and kill people there. Okay, so it's something that is common in any countries where you have extremist people who believe that that's the only way to register their dissent against religion. What is needed to be done is that the Christian clerics in Nigeria are the one pushing the Americans to sanction Nigeria because nobody seems to be caring about what is happening. So it's calling attention to really what's happening in the north, not in the south, for example. And I keep saying that Boko Haram, ISWAP will never come to the south. Never. So if anybody tells you that all these bandits that are coming in and coming out, they are coming from the north, it's a lie.
Why do you say that?
It's a lie. I just told you that they are collecting 150,000 naira every month.
From
bandits.
But you said that, your point is that you said Boko Haram or ISWAP will never come to the south.
Will never. What are they looking for? What are they looking for? What are they looking for? And I've also told people too.
Isn't the same thing they are looking for in the north that they will look for in the south?
They are making a mistake. No sensible terrorists or insurgents we say want to come and create a caliphate in Ibadan.
Okay.
It will not.
Anyway.
And the case of Boko Haram and ISWAP, they want a caliphate in Borno State. In Borno State. And you could realize that they have been focusing on Borno State. They use the other state just, to keep up pressure on the government. But they want Borno State to be the caliphate. And if they want that, why are the people in Borno State not resisting?
But General, as a last point, I wanted to respond to this. Just if you look at history, the jihadists, they were trying to come to Yoruba land, and it took the Ibadan forces in 1840 to stop them at Osogbo. So can we say that they don't want to come to the South, knowing the history?
That is your own story. And that was
that's the fact.
Yes, and that was in the past, okay, that they were stopped. Which mumu will come now from the north? But tell me another story. Ask me another question, I beg.
All right. Our time is fast, but it's always good to have these exchanges with you, your insight and the very simple way that you dice the issue of insecurity. I'm just hoping that the people that ought to are paying attention to some of your views. And thank you so much for those views. Thank you for always coming to Inside Sources.
Yeah, let them reorganize. This problem is not so complex.
I believe so too. Thank you so much for coming to Inside Sources.
Okay.